Welcome players. Thank you for watching this training video brought to you by thegamblingpro.com. My name is tbaggen. I'm a poker trainer, basically for new players and players that struggle with bankroll management. What I'm doing is playing a cash leaderboard on the Merge Poker Network. I have a couple of reasons why. It's not that I'm excited about winning a couple dollars, always nice, of course. However, it's more about the style of play and the strategy and technique required to succeed in a competition such as this. As you can see, is a very nice prize for the top 10. The top 250 receive something back for their efforts, and this is weekly. If you notice, a lot of the same players, week 1, 2, and 3, also week 4, are the same individuals. I didn't get involved until week 4, but it was an interesting experience, and we're going to talk about that right now. The rules of this competition are pretty basic. If you are involved in a hand where the card room collects any amount of rake, even 1 penny, if you're involved in a raked hand, you get 1 point. So I think at 12 cents or 14 cents the card room gets their share. So what everybody is doing is pre-raising the flop. So it's almost impossible to get accurate reads on who's holding what type of cards, unless you've played against these players, before. I'm actually on about day 3 or 4, I can't remember, but some of these players I've come across several times. In fact, normally I'm playing between 6 and 9 cash tables at one time, because with this competition it doesn't matter if you play $100 a hand or 10 cents. Like I said, if there's rake involved, you get the point. So there's probably about 800 players, and the 2 and 4 cent tables are just stuffed. I mean, there's just so many going, it's ridiculous. And a lot of the leaders, they're probably doing 12 to 15 tables at a time, and they're raising pre-flop to make sure that there's going to be rake taken. Thus they get the point, and that's how they got such a high score. The problem with me coming in on week 4 is these same individuals have scored some pretty nice cash the past 3 weeks. So bankroll wise, not many players in this competition can compete at that level. So I'm playing between 4, 6, and 9 tables at a time. I'm implementing a couple different strategies, and I'll break them down as we go. Because of all the abnormal raising going on, I have 3 primary objectives. The first one is to only play the best cards that I can. The second is to make an impression on every player at the table. And third is to take my profits and leave. The longer I stay, the more chance I have on losing any potential gains that I'm going to come across. And so what I try to do first is to pick out the weakest player at the table. And most of these guys here I haven't really played much of before, so So I'm studying here as I'm talking to you. Um, but a couple different things that I'm going to do is I know I'm going to re-raise any potential raisers pre-flop. And if they bet into me, I'm going to re-raise them as well. It's going to create some doubt in their minds. Secondly, you know, if I do come across a good hand, I'm going to spank them hard. Again, leaving that impression at the table. And, you know, usually, no matter if I play for, you know, $1 or 100, if I get to a certain profit margin, I leave the table. In other words, if I can get, you know, 40 to 50% of whatever I went to the table with, I'm out of there. And in doing so, if you're playing multi-tables and you're scoring, you know, 50% of your investment on every table you play, that adds up pretty fast. So we'll analyze these hands as we get to them. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this one table because I have to get back into the competition here, but there was so many unique circumstances that I just had to stop and show you kind of what's going on here. So stay with me. We're bound to see some cards here sometime. Like I mentioned before, I'm only going to see the best cards I can, so I usually will fold quite a bit. You know, unless they're interesting or it's fairly cheap, or if I have some decent odds. But you know, most of this game is won pre-flop or it's won on the river. So those are two areas where you really want to concentrate on. And typically where they can be won, where you can win the hand and take it from somebody, is usually on the flop or the turn. So as we get into those situations, hopefully I'll show you what I do, how to react to some of these, well, they're just weak players. Like I said, all you have to do is get a point. So it doesn't really matter if you know how to play cards. You put your money in the middle and high score wins. I'll give you some background on me. I started playing on PokerStars in 2007, and I have played just about every day since then. Various card rooms. You know, I got several different poker accounts, and once in a while I'll pull up this room, or I'll be training with somebody in this room. You know, so it's real useful to do that. Pocket twos. I'll probably see a cheap flop if everybody stays out. Yeah, that's not bad. Well, I didn't really get anything, and everything on the table beats me, and this guy, yeah, look at him. I'm not going to call that. But see, that just shows you right there, if he really had something, why not try to milk for everything you can get? You know, so I don't know what he really had there. That's kind of hard to tell on a shove, but you know, he could have had ace, could have had kings. Point of the matter is, I didn't have anything. Let's see what happens here. I'm gonna raise him. I don't think he's got anything. Yeah, shut down. There we go. There's my pigeon. That's the guy we're gonna make some money on right there. He just throws it out and hopes everybody folds. And so you might try it next time with some decent cards, but like I said, we're only going to play good cards too, so the chips will fall where they may. I prefer to play six-handed, actually, for those of you that don't play a lot of cards. It's just a little faster action. You got less people chances of winning a hand or better, you know. So those type of games are going on all the time. You can find them with double or nothings, or in tournaments, or here just playing cash. And they're in all denominations. So typically, if a player gets good at one type of table, over time you can do a lot of damage, because if you're studying these players and you're always working on your specific game, you mix it up a little bit, you're going to walk away a winner. You're not going to win every day, but I look at cards as a whole year. I'm going to play a lot of games in that time, and when the year's over, it was like one big poker game, and I either won or I lost, and honestly, I've never had one year where I've lost. And you can break it down by month, by week, by day. I mean, you can really analyze the heck out of this stuff. So I'm a numbers guy. It's hard to argue with fact. Numbers seem to provide factual information. So that's how I play. I find the weak players, I pick on them till I got my numbers, and then I leave. I'm really hoping we start getting some cards here. These aren't going to cut it. But I kind of like that player right there, my pigeon. I am going to try to exploit him as much as possible. These other players, they don't seem to be too active yet. It's pretty new at the table. I've only seen a few hands. Like I said, it's hard to tell anyway, but we're going to try to analyze these guys, and we'll see if we can predict what they have by how they bet, and hopefully it all goes our way. Ace-5 I'm not a big fan of. Obviously, if it's a suited ace, that's a little different story, but that's usually what happens. I don't really get anything on it. I know a few people that's their favorite hand, but for me, I hardly ever play it. I'm not sure what this guy has, but he's probably got something, and I'm not just going to chase a weak ace, and I wouldn't even spend 2 cents on that. Who cares? Jack-9 I don't really care for either. There has been some hands where I've won some money with it, but I think overall it just isn't real common. Here's a spot where I might be able to get something back. Now he checked, so I'm gonna bet this guy. If he calls me, he's got something. Yeah, he folds. So connecting cards, I don't really care for those much either. I'll see it if it's cheap. Or if I'm in a position to use them, but they're not my cards of choice. We're with our favorite guy here, so see if it can work out for us. Now he checked, so let's just see how he plays this thing. If he bets, I'll probably raise him. Yeah, he don't have much. Let's raise him. There we go. We're reading them good. So A7 hearts. I like those hands. I like suited aces. I don't spend a lot of money on them, but if it's cheap, I'll see that flop, because a lot of times, about 60% of the flops in Hold'em contain 2 cards of the same suit. Now, chances of that being your suit is 1 in 4. But here we flop an ace. We'll see if he bites on this thing. Yeah, he called me, so I definitely want to be careful. You know, I got this weak kicker, and you know that's the problem with playing suited aces. Is a lot of times it's a weak ace. You know, he could have an ace. I think he's probing. I'm just gonna call him and see what he does. Yeah, that check, it's ours. We're gonna take it right now. You know, I don't think he's even gonna call us, but you know, if he does, I think we'll have it. There we go. Perfect. A lot of people in this competition, you know, they're chasing the leaderboard. Myself, I'm just picking on the leaders. You know, they're playing real weak. They're just throwing money out there, so we're taking it. Aces, yeah, they can be tricky to play. You know, you definitely want to raise with them, and I'm kind of in a bad spot early to play them, but we got one customer. We're gonna see the flop and probably check, see what they do, and then we'll take it from there. That's a good flop. We're gonna check her off. Pretty weak bet. We're gonna bump it right now and probably just take it down. There we go. Okay, well, I am up over my 50% mark, so we're gonna call it a day. Thanks for watching, and you know, thegamblingpro.com does some pretty amazing things as far as reading and teaching, and poker is just getting stronger all across the world. So you need help, you get a hold of us. Keep playing, and good luck at the table.